Right now, at this very second, while the global population is fixated on the daily noise of the 24-hour news cycle, scrolling through algorithmically curated fear, the men who actually own the world are quietly executing a silent exodus. Not an exodus from their companies, not an exodus from their private islands or penthouse towers. This is an exodus from civilization itself. From the volcanic ridges of Hawaii to the reinforced subterranean plains of Kansas, and most notably to the remote, jagged, impossibly beautiful mountains of New Zealand, the top 1% are no longer just building mansions. They are building insurance policies. Insurance policies for the collapse of modern civilization. And the price tag on those policies? We are talking hundreds of millions of dollars each. In the inner circles of Silicon Valley, behind closed doors at summit retreats in Sun Valley, Idaho, and private dinner tables in Atherton, California, this phenomenon has a name. They call it the event. Is a code word. A two-word contingency plan shared only between nine-figure net worth individuals and their most trusted advisors. It refers to the exact moment, the precise inflection point, when the social contract breaks. Whether that moment is triggered by an algorithmic economic collapse that crashes global markets in under 48 hours, or a geopolitical conflict that exceeds the scale of the entire 20th century combined, or a biological threat, engineered or natural, that the public isn't yet aware of, or an artificial intelligence event that no government is prepared to contain. The ultra-wealthy are not waiting to find out which one arrives first. They are preparing for all of them simultaneously. But why New Zealand? Why is a small island nation, a country with more sheep than people, sitting at the literal edge of the known world, becoming the ultimate lifeboat for the global tech elite? Today, we go inside the Wealth Vault to deconstruct the terrifying, fascinating, and deeply revealing reality of billionaire doomsday bunkers. We are going deeper than the headlines, deeper than the tabloid takes. We are going inside the architecture of elite survival, the psychology, the geography, the technology, and the moral reckoning. This is not a science fiction movie. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the documented, verified, and thoroughly researched ultimate survival strategy of the global ultra-elite in 2026. The vault is open. Let's begin with the most public secret in the world. A secret so large, it covers 1,400 acres of the most breathtaking terrain on Earth. Kauai, Hawaii. Here, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is constructing what has been labeled Ko'olau Ranch. On the surface, at a reported construction cost of $270 million, it appears to be a sprawling tropical estate, a luxury compound befitting the world's third richest man. Gardens, goose houses, underground tunnels connecting every structure on the property. But the luxury is a facade, a beautifully landscaped $100 million facade. Because leaked construction documents, reviewed by investigative journalists and reported by major outlets, revealed something far more industrial beneath the surface. Something that does not appear on any public permit application. Buried deep beneath the volcanic soil of Kauai is a 5,000 square foot underground bunker. It is sealed behind a blast-resistant door constructed from solid, reinforced steel and layers of high-density concrete, specifically engineered to withstand the direct percussion of an above-ground catastrophic event. The ranch is designed for total, sovereign autonomy. It features a massive freshwater storage tank 55 feet in diameter, enough to sustain an entire community for months without an external supply. It runs a sophisticated agricultural system capable of producing the full caloric requirements of everyone inside. It has its own independent power generation capability, completely off the public grid. In the event of a total global shutdown, supply chain collapse, infrastructure failure, government breakdown, Zuckerberg would not need a single cargo ship to dock in Hawaii. He would not need a power line from the mainland. He would not need the outside world at all. He would have his own self-sustaining sovereign kingdom. And here is what separates this from the billionaire real estate plays you read about in Forbes or Bloomberg. This is not about status. This is not about square footage or ocean views. This is operational infrastructure. This is a life support system. But why Hawaii specifically? Because Kauai, sitting in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, is the most geographically isolated major island chain on the planet. The nearest continental landmass is over 2,000 miles away. In a collapse scenario, where urban centers descend into chaos and road networks become impassable, that distance is not an obstacle. It is a moat. However, for some members of the ultra-wealthy elite, even Hawaii is not far enough from what they call the splash zone, the projected radius of political, economic, and social instability radiating outward from the world's major population centers. While Zuckerberg secures the Pacific from within it, another circle of the global elite is looking further, much further, toward what insiders increasingly refer to as the golden ticket, at the absolute bottom of the map. But before we arrive in New Zealand, before we cross the last ocean to the final destination, we need to understand the architecture of fear that has been quietly embedded in the American heartland for decades. Because while some billionaires build from scratch, others have been repurposing the ghosts of the Cold War. And what they have created is unlike anything in the history of real estate. Scattered across the American Midwest, beneath the flat, ordinary-looking plains of Kansas, there are former nuclear missile silos. These were Atlas F intercontinental ballistic missile launch facilities, engineered and constructed by the United States Air Force to survive a direct 20-megaton nuclear detonation. They were built with 18-inch reinforced concrete walls. They sit 200 feet below the surface of the Earth. The Cold War ended. The missiles were removed. But the structures remained, silent, buried, and nearly indestructible. And then, a developer named Larry Hall quietly purchased one of them and transformed it into something the world had never seen before. The survival condo. A 15-story skyscraper, not reaching upward into skyline, but bored downward into the earth like an inverted tower of wealth and paranoia. Each private floor sells for upward of $3 million. The top half-floor units, roughly 900 square feet, sell for $1.5 million and are fully sold out. The complex has its own indoor swimming pool, a rock-climbing wall, a full-service bar, a library, a classroom for children, a fully equipped surgical suite, and a 5-year supply of freeze-dried and hydroponic food production built directly into the facility's infrastructure. These are not damp, dark, dystopian caves. These are ultra-luxury survival apartments built for the long game, built for the scenario that the people who own them genuinely believe they may need to use. And here is the element that most media coverage gets entirely wrong when they cover these facilities. Each unit features high-definition LED window systems that simulate the external environment in real time. They display live 4K feeds of redwood forests, mountain sunrise panoramas, or Mediterranean coastlines, updated continuously so that the inhabitants do not succumb to the documented psychological deterioration that comes from extended underground isolation. Because the engineers and psychologists who designed these facilities understand something the general public does not fully grasp. In a long-term survival scenario, it is not starvation or physical threat that kills people first. It is the mind. But there is a question that hangs over every one of these facilities, every bunker, every bolt hole, every reinforced panic room. A question that the billionaires who purchase them almost never answer publicly. Who, exactly, are they protecting themselves from? The answer is not simply external threats, not rogue states, not electromagnetic pulse attacks or pandemics alone. The answer, when you read between the lines of the architectural briefs, the sociological research they commission privately, and the conversations that venture capitalists have among themselves, is us, the general population. The ultra-wealthy are not only afraid of the bomb, they are afraid of what happens in the 72 hours after the bomb. They are afraid of the moment the supermarket shelves go empty, the police stop answering 911, and 200 years of social order dissolves in real time. They are building these fortresses to outlast the chaos of the masses. And that, perhaps more than any construction cost or architectural specification, is the most revealing detail of all. Now, we arrive at the ultimate destination. The location that has become the single most discussed contingency asset in the private wealth management conversations of 2025 and 2026. New Zealand. Why has this small island nation, 2 islands, 5 million people, perched at the remote southern edge of the Pacific, become the undisputed bunker capital of the world? What has it got that no other place on Earth can replicate? For figures like Peter Thiel, the billionaire co-founder of PayPal and Palantir Technologies, one of the most consequential venture capitalists in the history of Silicon Valley, New Zealand is the golden ticket. In 2011, Thiel was quietly granted New Zealand citizenship after spending just 12 days in the country, a legal move that sparked national controversy, multiple parliamentary inquiries, and a public debate that reverberated across the country's media for years. 12 days. That is all it took to secure citizenship in what insiders increasingly describe as the most strategically valuable piece of land on the planet. And Thiel is not alone. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, the man who has done more than perhaps any other individual alive to accelerate the development of artificial general intelligence, has also established deep connections with New Zealand. Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn and one of Silicon Valley's most powerful connective nodes, has spoken openly about New Zealand's appeal as a contingency location. And here is what they are not saying publicly, but what the private intelligence briefings, the luxury real estate transactions, and the aircraft positioning data all point toward. New Zealand is geopolitically unique in a way that no other English-speaking, politically stable, rule-of-law nation on Earth can match. It sits over 1,200 miles from Australia, its nearest significant neighbor, is over 7,000 miles from the continental United States, is entirely removed from every projected nuclear target zone in the Northern Hemisphere. It possesses one of the highest ratios of renewable fresh water per capita of any nation on Earth. Its agricultural output relative to population is extraordinary. New Zealand produces enough food to feed approximately 40 million people on a population of 5 million. And its geophysical location places it outside the primary fallout drift patterns identified in classified NATO contingency modeling. There are persistent, well-sourced rumors circulating among architects, freight logistics operators, and customs officials that bunker-ready residential structures are being prefabricated in workshops in the United States and quietly shipped to New Zealand in sealed, unmarked cargo containers. Assembled on remote properties that do not appear on publicly accessible mapping platforms. Properties registered through multi-layered offshore holding structures specifically designed to obscure beneficial ownership. Inside the Wealth Vault, through our network of research contacts across the real estate, aviation, and private wealth advisory sectors, we have confirmed that multiple Silicon Valley principals currently maintain private jet flight plans for Auckland and Queenstown that are pre-filed, pre-cleared, and require nothing more than a single encrypted authorization command to execute. These are not hypothetical plans. These are operationally ready contingency flight protocols. Aircraft fueled, crews on retainer, clearances current. The bags, in many cases, are already packed and stored at the departure facility. This is the ultimate exit strategy. Not a metaphor, not a thought experiment. A literal, documented, operationally ready plan to disappear from the civilized world with 72 hours notice, or less. But this raises a moral question. A profound, uncomfortable, and genuinely important moral question that the financial media almost never asks. If the people who designed our modern digital world, who built the platforms where billions of people communicate, create, and organize their lives, if those specific people are this urgently preparing to abandon the world they built, what does that tell us about the future they are actually constructing for the rest of us? Are they building it to last? Or are they building it to extract maximum value from and then leave? That question does not have a comfortable answer. Here is what the mainstream coverage of this phenomenon consistently fails to report. The billionaire bunker trend is not just a story about paranoia or inequality. It is a story about a rapidly growing multi-billion-dollar industry that has been quietly scaling for over a decade and is now accelerating faster than at any point since the Cold War. The global disaster preparedness and survival infrastructure market was valued at approximately $500 billion globally in 2024. Industry analysts project it will exceed $900 billion by the end of this decade. The premium ultra-high net worth segment, The bunkers, the private emergency airlifts, the turnkey remote compounds represents a market growing at over 30% per year. This is not a niche. This is an industry. And the people funding its growth are not fringe survivalists. They are some of the most analytically sophisticated capital allocators who have ever lived. These are people who built their fortunes by identifying signals before the market consensus recognized them. And the signal they are currently pricing in unanimously, privately, and with enormous financial commitment is one of systemic fragility at the macro level. When the smartest risk analysts in the world, people who spend their professional lives running probabilistic models on global systems, when those specific people are paying $3 million, $10 million, $50 million to build personal infrastructure for civilizational breakdown, that is a data point, a significant, serious, deeply unsettling data point. Private wealth consultancies operating in the $10 million and above client tier reported in 2025 that nearly 40% of their ultra-high net worth clients had made at least one significant investment in survival infrastructure within the previous 24 months. That number has not been lower than 30% in any quarter since 2022. The market is not cooling. The market is accelerating. At the end of all of this, at the end of the architectural specifications, and the geographic analysis, and the investment figures, we are left with a truth that is more revealing than any blueprint. The men and women building these bunkers are the most powerful human beings alive. They control platforms used by 3 billion people. They fund the political campaigns of presidents and prime ministers. They have access to private intelligence that most world governments do not. Their personal net worth exceeds the GDP of entire nations. And despite all of that, perhaps because of all of that, they feel more vulnerable, more exposed, and more genuinely afraid than at any point in recent history. They have spent their entire careers optimizing business models, optimizing biological longevity through private medical programs, optimizing cognitive performance through neuroscience-backed protocols. And now, with the same systematic, data-driven ruthlessness, they are optimizing their survival. But here is the question that keeps the philosophers and ethicists awake. The question that does not have a clean algorithmic answer. Can you actually survive the end of civilization in a golden cage? History, without exception, shows that every elite who has ever attempted to wall themselves off from a collapsing world has faced the same fundamental constraint. Not food, not water, not structural integrity, loyalty. No matter how thick the steel door is, the people inside that door are only as safe as the loyalty of the people guarding it. And loyalty, as every political philosopher from Machiavelli to Kissinger has documented, is a highly conditional commodity in extreme circumstances. If the currency becomes worthless, and in a true civilizational collapse scenario, it does, what keeps the security team from turning the key? What keeps the contractor who built the facility from remembering exactly where the ventilation shaft is? These are not abstract questions. They are the exact questions that the more self-aware members of the bunker class ask themselves privately. The Billionaire Doomsday Bunker is the ultimate expression of wealth in 2026, is the final luxury good. The one purchase that no amount of public relations can fully reframe as anything other than what it is. A monument to fear. A monument to the loss of faith, not just in governments, not just in institutions, but in the fundamental idea that human civilization is a project worth investing in for the long term. Perhaps the most valuable insight inside the Wealth Vault today is this. The greatest fortunes in human history were not built by people who prepared to survive the collapse of the world. They were built by people who bet, with everything they had, on the world getting better. Carnegie built libraries. Rockefeller built universities. Gates eradicated diseases. The legacy of great capital is not the bunker. It is the civilization. Perhaps the greatest wealth of all is not the ability to hide from the world when it breaks. It is the vision, the courage, and the sustained investment required to build it strong enough that the doors never have to close in the first place. That is the real exit strategy. And no private jet to Queenstown can substitute for it. If you want to understand how the global elite actually think, how they invest, how they prepare, how they position themselves for every possible future, you belong inside the Wealth Vault. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Because the next vault we open is going deeper, going darker, and going further inside the financial architecture of the 1% than anything you have ever seen on this platform. The vault is open.